It's a bit of a windy one today, and it's a glorious end to September. It's nearing the end of September now, and it's just been such a nice month. We've had sort of continuous sunshine, a few bits of rain, but it's just been a nice extension to summer, because it didn't really feel like we had much of a summer. It was really short season and we didn't get much of this glorious sunshine. And you know, it means things like the cosmos are now blooming their socks off at last. And yeah, it's been a wonderful month, and I've been away for some of it. I went to Wales for a little while, North Wales, stayed in Bethesda and had a little trip to Allotment for my birthday. And oh my god, if you live nearby or if you've ever been, you'll know what I mean. But it's an incredible National Trust garden, probably the best one that I've been to, and the scale alone was just absolutely mind-boggling. Like, it's set on this valley and it's really, really steep, and you'll have these enormous trees that are planted at the top and you'll be stood at the very bottom, so you're just looking up at these enormous, incredible trees. And yeah, they had some gorgeous tropical plants as well. I'm now determined to get some ensetis on my allotments, and I may have bought a banana for the allotment. It'll be a few years until I get bananas, if that ever happens, but it does. So yeah, anyway, today, if I don't blow away, we're going to show you around as usual. And obviously, you know, we're nearing autumn now. Things are on a little bit of a downward slope. Crops are being harvested, but there's still a lot to pick, and I'm going to harvest a few things today. I've got the last of my sweet corn. I've probably got loads more berries to pick, including the blackberries, the raspberries, my apples. I'm a bit late picking them because I was away when I should have done it, and I'm a bit worried that they're all going to blow off at this rate, so I need to get some of those. Well, I'm going to get some trugs and I'll see you at the gate, and we'll harvest some stuff as we go around. Let's see what's going on in September. Well, oh yeah, I've already made a little start on some of my hedges. So that one right at the bottom, I've trimmed that back a bit so I can see that city line view again. But I just want to crouch down here at this new border where the sedum is in bloom. Great big pads of pink, and the bees have been all over it, and also the bindweeders too. But yeah, got lots of sedum, which is great for extending the season for the pollinators. And just a bit further down, can you see that? I can smell it from here. A huge lily that I planted in a container actually, and the colour of that is just so bright. Otherwise, the rest of the border is starting to go over now. We had a few more roses. It's just the greenery that's left now. Let's have a look at the plot from here. Those cosmos, I think they're one of my favourite things on here right now. Just turning around, I want to actually take a quick look at my parsnips. I want to see how they're doing. Let's have a look, see if I can find one. Now, sometimes I do get carrot fly affecting my parsnips as well as my carrots, but usually they fare a lot better. So I'm just going to scratch around the base and see if I can see any signs of parsnip. So I sowed these in June time, and there we are. We can see it's starting to thicken up a little bit. Cover that back over. They'll actually do a lot more of their fattening up over the autumn months when we get a lot more rain. And also, obviously I'm going to wait until the frosts, because they'll taste a lot better after the first frosts. My blueberry bush is putting on its autumn colour, and blueberries are one of those plants that, even if you don't like the fruit, it's worth growing just as an ornamental, because they have such amazing colour. Now we're coming down to my red sweet corn, and this is a crop that I know is ready, and I'm just going to harvest whatever's left now before they start to go overripe. I'm not sure how many cobs I've got left. Oh, I can see one over there, look. So let me get harvesting. There's my corn on the cobs, and this double red variety has been such a fun one to grow because it's got really vibrant cobs, and I thought they wouldn't taste quite as sweet as the yellow ones, but they still taste great, and if I steam them rather than boiling them, they keep that colour. Are you ready for this? They just look absolutely stunning. Just look at that. It's so gothic. Really good for Halloween. Look at that colour. Further on from the sweet corn, we've got the sunflowers. Look at this one. Woo! You've been eaten, no doubt, by probably rats, squirrels, mice, voles. Yeah, most likely the rats though. Well, at least somebody's enjoying the seeds. But these hedges are absolutely covered in blackberries, and I've been picking them all month, and there's still more to come. The weather's just been so good for them. Oh, the raspberries are blowing everywhere. And I've got a few more of these to pick as well. And it looks like the all gold is now here to join the party with the Joan Jay, which is the red one. Some of them have gone a bit mouldy, that's a shame. But it's the apple tree that I really need to get harvesting right now because of this wind, and I'm worried that they're all going to start dropping and rotting before I get to them. And yeah, there's quite a few to pick this year, perhaps not as many as previously, but look at those big ones. Oh yeah. Look what I've just spotted blooming underneath the apple tree. Some lupins. How bizarre. The dahlias in this border are now in full bloom, as are these cosmos. They've had a bit of a battering with these winds lately. You may have watched my recent video where I cut them and give you lots of tips on how to cut them. The carrot bed is a bit of a fail this year. My nasturtiums went a little bit rogue and covered it up for a little while, but the seeds, I mean, they did germinate, but they're not doing great, and I can already tell by some of the dark streaks on that the carrot fly has been in already, which is not great because I wasn't able to net them in time. But never mind, it's one of those things. You win some, you lose some every year, right? Now, if I just turn back to my seating area, where there's a few things going on. Oh, but first, actually, I want to talk about this. And this was a gift that I was given really early this year. And it's got these gorgeous little berries on, and I keep checking them. And they've just been really rock hard and not ripe, but now they are ripe. And they're super sweet, and I've actually found that the skin is a little bit tough and a bit bitter, so what I tend to do is just to sort of squeeze the inside into my mouth. It reminds me of Starburst sweets. It's like a chewy fruit sweet if you don't get them in wherever you live. Starburst, opal fruits, you know. Yeah, quite strawberry-like, a bit like the fromage fraise you get as a kid. And yeah, just the skin's a little bit tough, but otherwise really good. Round the back, my trellis is actually starting to fill in quite nicely, especially that there is my winter clematis, which has grown quite a lot this year, so I'm hoping it will start to fill up there, and that'll bloom around December, January time, maybe even February. We've got some of my tropicals there at the back. And oh yeah, in this tub here, it was a bit of a bargain at work. I've bought myself another blueberry. You know, it's got a little bit of dead on it, but that's fine, just needs a bit of a prune, perhaps a repot with some fresh compost. And I've got another blueberry, which is fantastic. That'll help with the pollination of my other plants as well. Let's just have a look at the plot from this end. Obviously the beds are starting to clear now. The courgettes, let's have a look. Not so many courgettes now. Oh gosh, this keeps happening. You don't visit for a few days and then look, the monsters. Oh yes, 2 plants is definitely enough, possibly too many for just myself and my boyfriend. Can't pick them quick enough, and I've just got too many of them. Now over here I've actually got my beans, and I noticed the other day that some of them are starting to dry up quite nicely. Hello. And this one is a Greek variety with really big white beans, and you know when your beans are ready to harvest, your beans for drying that is, when the skin, the shell, turns brown and crispy, and if you shake them you can sort of hear them rattle inside. And you want to pick these before they start to go a bit mouldy, which can happen if you get a lot of rain. But I'm trying to do this one-handed, failing. Oh, can I get the last one out? There we go. Nice 5 big white beans. Gorgeous. So that's just the start of hopefully what's going to be quite a good crop. So I might actually, since I'm here and before it rains, I'm gonna harvest what's ready. Over in the side border, look at this dahlia. Penhill watermelon, it's absolutely enormous. Now this is one that I've actually left in the ground, and it's brought me onto a bit of a conundrum. Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe this year I might actually leave more of my dahlias in the ground than what I lift, because it's just getting too much work. You know, I've got too many dahlias now, and the tubers themselves are getting so big. It's difficult to find pots big enough, and then if I split them then I've got more to deal with, and it's just a bit too much of a faff. And I know that there are people in Nottingham that also don't lift their dahlias, and it all comes down to the soil really. And my soil is quite free draining, and I'm in quite a sheltered spot, so I think this year I might actually risk it a little bit. We'll see, I might change my mind, but we'll see. Down in my squash patch, well, the foliage is now starting to die away, which means it's almost time to start picking my squash. And look, I've got a lovely little Turk's turban down here. I've not grown this one before. Quite a small squash, but that suits me fine. I actually quite like small squash, but I've only got one, considering I have one plant. One squash doesn't seem that many, but I've also got some buttercup. What have we got here? This beast. Oh, it's the blue Queensland. When I get quite big. That's a good size, happy with that. I've also got some butternuts, and this one is trailing along on my little makeshift fence, which I'm pretty pleased actually worked. But I might need to support that because it's getting quite heavy. And I got another little butternut over here. So yeah, lots of smaller squash this year, which, as I said, I actually quite like. And oh, I've got the uchi curry down here too, disguised by all of the nasturtiums. Okay, well, it came off in my hand, so I guess it's coming home with me now. And down in this bed, the squash here has still actually got quite a lot of foliage left on them. and we've got lots of those honey boat squash, and there's at least, I don't know, about 7 or 8 of them hiding underneath. And I've also got another buttercup down there. I've got the spinach, which has been doing really well, and I think they're loving this quite wet summer we've had, and it's not bolted, which is fantastic. And of course all of those gorgeous little not dahlias, cosmos. I've got a few straw flowers there as well. I haven't actually grown as many straw flowers this year as last time because, to be quite honest with you, that whole bed at the bottom by the shed was too much, and I got a bit sick of them because I just had to keep picking them all the time. They were great fun for my projects, but yeah, I definitely wanted more cosmos this year instead. And the double dahlia patch there is looking good. The Wizard of Oz are actually looking strangely quite washed out today. I wonder what that's to do with. Perhaps the rain. We had a little bit of rain, but they're looking quite muted. There's not much pink to them at the minute. But the natal, gorgeous burgundy colour. That's how they're doing. Let's have a look in the polytunnel, where things have changed because the tomatoes have all gone because of the blight. They ripened really nicely at home, by the way, and I've picked them, and also some of my peppers and chilies, made some chutney, and I've got a special chutney making recipe for you coming soon on YouTube. You'll be able to watch the video on how I make that. But yeah, lots more chilies to come. Also, my chilies haven't been the best this year, and that's mainly because I didn't pot them up enough, so the crops are quite small, but also the weather, you know, it's been very cool and not the right sort of temperature for chilies. But I've had quite a few little cayenne and some peppers as well. You need a drink. And I've got some trays of seedlings here that are intending to go outside once they're ready, but these are bolted. It's like a Japanese green. Let's see how it tastes. Well, that's the bud anyway. Cabbagey. Tastes just like cabbage. And further down we've got my new banana, who's in the tunnel at the moment because it's so windy out there. And this one needs potting up because it's outgrown its pot. And I've just got a bit of a love for tropical plants at the minute, and you know, if I ever get my back garden of my own, I'd love to just sort of surround myself with these. And my lemon is doing really well. It's bounced back now. Doesn't have any flower buds on yet, I don't think, but we might get some in the late autumn, maybe even in winter if it keeps its foliage long enough. We shall see. And my little lime is also doing quite well. I keep giving this a feed about every fortnight, a nice citrus feed to keep them happy. And on the opposite side, I've replaced my tomato plants with my Cape gooseberries, and although they're fruiting, they're not quite ready yet because these are still green and they turn quite yellow and papery when they're ripe. So we've got a few fruits coming. So that's it for the polytunnel. I might get some more salad crops in here once they grow on a little bit more, plant them out. But most of this will now be used for overwintering and maybe a little bit of autumn seed sowing. At the very top of my plot is a tree that I planted in quite early spring this year, and it didn't do too well because it got rust and is a little bit unhappy. But look, I got my first little Nottingham medlar fruits. They're quite small, but they're there. This one here is a little bit bigger, and these need bulletting before they are fully edible, so they have to rot a little bit, and usually you wait until the frost comes and sort of blackens them a bit, and then the insides turn all soft and caramelly. But I'm pleased that I've got at least a couple of fruits. So here we are at the end of September at the top of the plot, and this is going to look very different by next month. Oh, you can see how I've cut back that hedge line at the bottom so I can see straight over on this gorgeous evening. That blue sky is absolutely gorgeous. Make the most of it now. The days are only getting shorter. This is my September harvest for 2021. We've got my double red sweet corn, my first little uchi curry red squash of the year. I've got some beans that I've already dried. I've got a lot more to pick that are still drying. Some chilies, some peppers, obviously courgettes. You can't not leave the plot without some courgettes. And some spinach that's behind my head. And all these apples. And this is probably just a quarter of the apples that I've got to harvest. I've got more to pick, but I don't have enough boxes and tubs with me today, so I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow to get the rest of them. But fortunately the wind has died down, so they're not going to be blowing off the tree. And yeah, I'm really pleased. You know, when I think back to last year's September harvest, I was just surrounded by loads of food, but you know, I've had to harvest a few things quite early this year, such as the potatoes and the tomatoes because of blight. And you know, this year's just been a little bit of a challenge, I think, for us all for various different reasons. So no, I'm really chuffed with this, and I've still got lots more to come. I've got all of those beans, more berries, and also the squash, and it's bulb planting season soon. I've just ordered my garlic and my tulips and my spring bulbs for next year, so I'll be planting them over the coming months. I've got a lot of winter projects that I want to start planning, getting things tidied. You know, I'm quite looking forward now to just clearing the beds and getting it all prepared for winter and starting up again in spring, because you know, everything's going to start dying down a little bit now, but secretly I'm kind of looking forward to getting into jumpers and snuggling up at home and flicking through the masses of seed catalogues that are being delivered through my door right now. Anyway, it's starting to get chilly, so I better head home with my harvest for today. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again real soon. Take care. Bye bye.